about Morgan Gibbs-White leaving Nottingham Forest. It looks like it could be on the cards. There's been rumours going on for the last week. What is actually happening with Morgan Gibbs-White? Well, let's start with what we know. So Nottingham Forest last week were made aware that Tottenham had triggered the release clause, which was previously unknown to anyone, worth £60 million for their star, Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, normally, a release clause triggered, it's a pretty standard thing in football. And in fairness to Tottenham, Nottingham Forest did put it in his contract, and the value is a lot lower than what really most of us would have expected him to have been worth after one season watching him at Nottingham Forest. We knew that his potential was sky high. Unfortunately, the release clause doesn't really reflect that. But Forest could actually have some standing here. Now, the release clause, even though they should be public, and they usually are, in this contract, it wasn't the case. What it seems to have been is that there's been a lot of NDAs covering that release clause, that they can't release it. And what Forest potentially could be saying that Tottenham have done, or what they have said they've done, is someone has released that information. We don't know who that person is or who that organisation is yet, if there is even any, allegedly, that has leaked that information. And therefore, Tottenham has got knowledge of the release clause and triggered the £60 million value that was in it. What actually happens now then? So that is all of that taken into account, should I say. What do Forest do now? It's been a week since that release clause was triggered. There was the here we go. David Ornstein gave his own transfer agreement article. And since then, there has been no movement. Nottingham Forest have featured Morgan Gibbs-White against Monaco recently, started in the first half, played the full 45. And now all of a sudden, it's gone completely quiet. There's lots of rumours that he's had medicals, photos taken, all of this. But there's not actually any substance to this. He's been in Nottingham most of this time, if not all of it. And there's not a hell of a lot of concrete evidence that he ever made a trip to London and did anything with that. So now it's a case of, where do we go from here? Forest are looking to try and get more money from the deal, potentially. Some reports are saying that Forest could try and ask for an extra 5 or 10 million on top of this to avoid the legal issues. Or Forest could look to just keep Morgan Gibbs-White, which would mean that he goes into his final year of his contract next year, and potentially 6 months later after that, so a year and a half from now, he can start negotiating with clubs to move on a free transfer. In my opinion, Forest, they've got a lot out of Morgan Gibbs-White. They've got to Europe. And to be completely honest with you, I think that if they can just sell now and avoid the noise, it might be the best option. Now, of course, 60 million is not the price that anybody would have or logically would have valued Morgan Gibbs-White at. Perhaps another club would because they want to sign him. But for a club that's, fought off relegation just a year ago and is now in Europe, losing the spine of the team, especially with Elanga recently going, really isn't what the team needs. So to lose them for 60 million as well, it's a little bit underwhelming to say the least. With that being said though, the noise, all the fingers being pointed at Forest, and the fact that actually Morgan Gibbs-White did agree to go, and it seems that he's keen to move on to a new challenge. And to be fair to him, who can blame him? It's Champions League football under a new manager. It's a new project for Thomas Frank at Tottenham. Of course, a player is going to be excited by a new challenge. He's been at Forest for 3 seasons. And to be completely honest with you, as much as I am so grateful for everything he's done, I think that if we can sell him, considering he wants to go, and just learn from the £60 million release clause situation, will be as good as gold. It's one of those things that happens in football, unfortunately, and Forest do have to learn a hard lesson. So I do see two sides to this. Forest want to protect their assets, and if there's a genuine legal concern, then I think Forest should pursue it. Who wouldn't? But if there isn't really, just sell. Let's cut the noise. And in my opinion, if Morgan Gibbs-White wants to go, let's let him go. Forest transfer recruitment system has got them to Europe. And people are complaining that they're not signing enough players. But if they got us to Europe, where else can they take us? I think if we sell Gibbs-White, we're going to reinvest and we're going to bring in some really good players, younger players, and players potentially already with Premier League experience as well, which would be great. So as much as it is a shame, and even though this isn't really me offering you any exclusive update as to where he's going, if he's even going to go, if it was me, I'd sell him. There's no point losing him for less money next season or potentially free the year after, which would be a disaster scenario when really we can just cash in now, accept the things that have gone wrong, learn from them, and get some money for it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you haven't already, drop us a follow here on my TikTok, Jamie Martin Media. And I'll see you for the next episode, which we'll be talking about, again, transfers coming very soon.